My family tried to ruin my wedding. Am I the asshole for organizing a luxury cruise for my birthday and not inviting my parents or siblings? I, a 28-year-old male, work as a medical device development engineer for a large healthcare organization. Honestly, I never expected to find myself in this predicament. For context, I've been leading a groundbreaking initiative to create a new cardiac monitoring system that is transforming how we follow heart problems in real time. The technique we developed has the potential to save thousands of lives by detecting cardiac irregularities hours before a severe incident. Our team's work has been published in numerous leading medical journals, and we just received a renowned industry innovation award. Professionally, my life is flourishing. However, my familial situation is very different. That disparity has never been more clear than today, as I face what is perhaps the most important decision I've ever had to make about my familial relationships. I'm the middle child in a household with 3 siblings. My older brother Alex, 32 million, works as a cardiac surgeon at a famous hospital and is the perfect child. Sophia, 16F, my younger sister, is the baby of the family, and she is always showered with affection. Every year, their birthdays are huge celebrations. For Alex's last birthday, our parents leased out an entire premium restaurant, hosted over 100 guests, and spared no expense. When Sophia turned 16, they hired a live band and turned our backyard into a festival venue. I remember how they spent weeks preparing every detail, from creating custom decor to hiring a professional photographic crew. Let me paint you a picture of how I grew up. Every success I made was overshadowed by those of my siblings. I recall sitting at the dinner table on my 8th birthday, hearing my family talk about Alex's soccer game as if it were any other day. They had thrown him a massive superhero-themed party 2 weeks prior, complete with a magician, special costumes, and party favors that outperformed any item I possessed. The entire neighborhood was there, kids running around in capes and masks, and my parents were beaming with pride at their magnificent firstborn. When I eventually got up the confidence to ask if they had forgotten my birthday, my mother barely looked up from her phone and said, "Oh, sorry, honey, we've been so busy with Alex's tournament schedule and Sophia's dance performance. We will make it up to you next year." She returned to displaying everyone photos from Alex's party on her phone. I recall sitting there, staring at my untouched food and feeling invisible in my own home. They never made it up to me. Not that year or any other year. The pattern persisted throughout my childhood. When I was 13, we were enjoying a family meal when the waitress inquired about any upcoming birthdays. My mother actually chuckled and said, "Oh, just his, but we aren't doing anything major. He's not the type to require much." Everyone at the table giggled, as if it were a light-hearted joke. When I think back to that moment, the shame still burns in my chest. Later following year, they threw Sophia a half-birthday party because she was disappointed that her birthday fell during the summer while school was out. The gap wasn't limited to birthdays. Throughout my childhood, every request I made was answered with excuses, yet my siblings received whatever they want. When I was 10, Alex begged for the most recent game console. Our parents went 3 hours to another city to get it, stating, "Nothing's too much trouble for our future doctor." A few months later, I requested the local store for a scientific kit, which I planned to utilize for the school science fair. My mother disregarded it, stating, "That's too expensive right now." The following week, they purchased Sophia an iPhone simply because she mentioned wanting one in passing. They were not isolated incidents. Every accomplishment in my life was considered as an afterthought. I graduated from high school as valedictorian and was accepted into one of the top engineering institutions in the country. Most parents would be thrilled, right? I scarcely acknowledged it. My father simply responded, "That's nice," while gazing at his phone. My mother's only reply was, "Well, engineering was your backup since you didn't try for medical school like Alex." Alex was accepted to medical school the same month, and they celebrated with a wedding reception-themed party. They hired caterers, live music, and even had special decorations printed with the words, "Future Dr. Alexander" on them. 2 years later, when Sophia graduated from high school with ordinary grades, they hired a professional photographer, made a tribute video, and bought her a brand new automobile as a graduation present. My college graduation gift? A gift card to Best Buy. Now, let me tell you about my present career success, not to brag, but to demonstrate the stark contrast in how my family views accomplishments. For the past 2 years, I've led a team of 15 engineers in the development of a groundbreaking heart monitoring gadget. This is not just another medical device. We're talking about technology that has the potential to dramatically alter our approach to heart attack prevention. The device employs advanced AI algorithms to detect small cardiac problems up to 24 hours before a big incident, allowing clinicians critical time to treat. Our initiative has been highlighted in 3 major medical journals, and we recently received the Healthcare Innovation Award, one of the most distinguished accolades in our field. What's with the irony? Our gadget has the potential to benefit patients like the ones Alex treats, but he has never shown any interest in learning about my work. Throughout the award ceremony, my entire team's families were present, celebrating with champagne and taking proud photos. My parents? They did not even respond to the invitation. Last month, at our weekly family video call, I attempted to inform everyone about the honor. My mom interrupted me mid-sentence to ask Alex about his most recent operation schedule. They then spent 20 minutes admiring Sophia's Instagram images from her recent weekend excursion to the beach. My achievements were not even acknowledged. When I tried to bring it up again, my father simply said, "That's nice, son," before shifting the conversation to Alex's imminent department head nomination. I tried talking to them about this trend several times throughout the years. Each attempt has resulted in dismissal or gaslighting. "You're just too sensitive," my mother would say, rolling her eyes. "We treat all of our children equally," my father mumbled, avoiding eye contact as usual. Alex would smirk and add, "Maybe if you did something actually important," while Sophia would sigh deeply and label me an attention seeker. Despite their negligence, I've managed to have a prosperous life. I have a great career, good friends, and an amazing girlfriend, Stephanie, 27F, who has been really supportive throughout. She has seen personally how my family's treatment impacts me, even if I try to hide it. Last month, at a meal with her family, her mother made a greater production about my birthday than my own family has ever done. She prepared my favorite cake, which she recalled from a casual talk months earlier, and gave me a nice work-related gift. It was moving, but it also made me realize how much I had missed out on. That's what prompted my current decision. My birthday is in 3 weeks, and instead of preparing for another disappointment, I'm taking charge. I've booked a luxury cruise and organized a lavish celebration, not just any cruise. I have reserved a luxury suite package on one of the most prominent cruise lines. The program includes unique dining experiences, spa treatments, and private shore excursions. I'm inviting all of our extended family, my aunts, uncles, and cousins, as well as my close friends. The guest list contains approximately 50 people, all of whom have expressed an interest in my life and achievements over the years. But here's the kicker: I'm intentionally excluding my immediate family. The invitations have already been sent, and I have something special planned for the major celebration dinner. I'm going to show a slideshow, and not just any slideshow. I've accumulated images and memories of all the birthdays they missed, accomplishments they overlooked, and occasions they made me feel invisible. Each image will be accompanied by a related image of how they celebrated Alex or Sophia on similar occasions. Is this petty? Maybe. But it feels necessary. I've also prepared a presentation about our medical gadget project, not to brag, but to demonstrate what I've accomplished while my family was too preoccupied with Alex's medical career. The gadget has already been licensed for clinical trials, and preliminary findings indicate that it could lower cardiac death rates by up to 30%. This might potentially save thousands of lives. The word spread through the family grapevine, and the emotions have been intense. My Aunt Susan, who has always been more aware of family dynamics, immediately responded yes, and called to say she is proud of me for sticking up for myself. Several cousins have also offered their support, stating that they have noticed how I have been treated over the years but were unsure how to handle it. However, not everyone has been supportive. Some relatives describe me as petty and immature. My mother has been blowing up my phone, leaving voicemails alternating between guilt-tripping, "How could you do this to your mother after all we've sacrificed for you?" and threats, "You'll regret this behavior, young man." My father wrote his normal passive-aggressive text about how I am tearing the family apart and creating unnecessary drama. Alex called me childish and advised me to grow up and accept that some people just achieve more in life. Sophia wrote a cryptic, hostile social media post about attention-seeking behavior and toxic siblings who can't handle others' success. But my friends and Stephanie absolutely support me. My best friend from college, who has seen my family dynamics for years, said something that really resonated. "Sometimes it takes a great act to disrupt destructive patterns. You've attempted to talk to them quietly for years. Maybe they'll finally listen." Stephanie has been especially fantastic throughout this. She's helped me organize every aspect of the cruise, from the meals to the decorations. She reminded me that this isn't about vengeance, it's about finally standing up for myself and refusing to be the forgotten child any longer. Her encouragement has shown me what a good family dynamic should look like. The cruise is booked, invites have been sent, and there is no going back now. Most of the visitors have already said yes, with many expressing enthusiasm for both the event and what it represents. Some relatives are plainly split between wanting to support me and being concerned about the potential for conflict with my parents. Surprisingly, most people are still opting to come. I created a special Instagram hashtag for the event and began posting teases about the approaching celebration. My mother saw these posts, despite being blocked. She created a bogus account and called my aunt in tears, screaming that I was publicly humiliating the family. Everyone understands the hypocrisy of her now caring about family disgrace after years of publicly ignoring me. I understand that this may appear radical to some people. Perhaps it is. But after 28 years of being treated as an afterthought, of seeing my siblings lauded while I am disregarded, of having my accomplishments discounted and my feelings questioned, it seems necessary. This isn't just a birthday celebration anymore. It's about taking control of my story and telling my family that I'm not going to be the invisible middle child any longer. The cruise will set off in 3 weeks. Half of me is delighted to finally celebrate myself properly, but another half is concerned about the consequences. Some friends say I should have broken contact discreetly rather than making a statement, but I believe I needed to do so, not just for me, but for any middle kid who has ever felt ignored. Am I taking things too far? Should I have taken a less dramatic approach to this situation? The cruise is paid for, and the majority of guests have confirmed, but I'm still wondering if I'm burning bridges that I might wish to cross again in the future. I would welcome any suggestions, especially from individuals who have experienced similar familial situations. Update 1. It's been 2 weeks since the cruise birthday celebration, and I need to tell you what happened because things have escalated beyond my expectations. The cruise itself was amazing. Almost everyone who had RSVP'd turned up, around 45 people in total, including the majority of our extended family and close friends. I presented my slideshow during the first night's welcome dinner in the ship's premium restaurant. The crowd fell silent as photos appeared on the screen. Empty chairs at my childhood birthday dinners juxtaposed with Alex's grandiose festivities? My overlooked academic successes next to Sophia's recognized occasions. What I didn't expect was my Aunt Carol to burst into tears halfway through, claiming she had never realized the enormity of the disparity. Several additional relatives stated that they had seen the unequal treatment but had not realized how systematic it was until they saw it set out chronologically. The presentation on my medical gadget project garnered a resounding response. My uncle Robert, who works in hospital administration, even approached me about deploying our monitoring system at his facility. It's funny how my professional accomplishments suddenly become impressive when validated by others. But this is where things became intense. On the second day of the vacation, my mother convinced the cruise line to let her board at our first port call. She stated she was a surprise visitor invited to the celebration. Security let her through because she had images of me on her phone that proved she was my mother. She stormed into our lunch gathering, mascara flying, yelling about how I was attempting to turn the family against her. "After all we've done for you?" she shouted in front of everyone. "You ungrateful and hateful child." Stephanie attempted to intervene, but my mother turned on her, accusing her of poisoning her son against his family. The big shock came when my normally quiet Aunt Margaret rose up and challenged my mother. "Helen," she continued firmly, "we have all seen you prefer Alex and Sophia for years. We said nothing since we did not want to intervene. But this is over now." Several more relatives joined in, expressing their own views on unfair treatment throughout the years. My mother left in tears, but the drama hadn't ended. That evening, Alex and Sophia carried out a concerted social media onslaught. They shared childhood images with notes criticizing ungrateful siblings and attention-seeking behavior. However, it backfired terribly. People began commenting with their own insights about how I had been handled differently throughout the years. The cruise lasted 3 more days, then something unexpected happened. Without my immediate family around, I experienced what genuine family support is like. My cousins shared anecdotes about their own experiences with partiality. Uncle James, whom I had always assumed was distant, confessed that he had followed my career via business publications and was truly happy of my accomplishments. When we returned, I saw over 30 missed calls from my parents and a lengthy email from my father. For the first time, he acknowledged the inequality in how they treated us, but in a way that made matters worse. We focused more on Alex because he was following the family medical tradition and on Sophia because she needed extra support. "You were always so independent and capable, we thought you didn't need the attention." The fallout has persisted. Yesterday, my mother arrived at my office, causing a disturbance in the foyer. She requested to meet with me, telling the security guard how I was breaking her heart and destroying our family. My colleagues witnessed the entire incident, and my supervisor later summoned me in to make sure I was okay. Surprisingly, He recounted his own experience breaking free from poisonous family dynamics and expressed his entire support. Stephanie's family has been fantastic throughout this. Her parents asked me over for supper last night and told me they consider me a member of their family. Her father even admitted that he wishes he'd had the fortitude to challenge his own family's partiality when he was young. The most unexpected development came from my younger relatives. Several of them have contacted me to say that seeing me stand up for myself has given them the confidence to handle similar difficulties in their own family relationships. My cousin Jenny even included our narrative into her psychology class presentation on family systems and partiality. Looking ahead, I've resolved to stick to the restrictions I've set. I'm not fully cutting off touch, but I'm no longer willing to be the forgotten child. I've blocked my siblings on social media and created email filters for my parents. My new policy is simple: I will only interact with family members who respect me and acknowledge their previous behavior. Stephanie and I are considering moving in together, possibly to a different city where her employer has an office. The distance may be beneficial, allowing everyone time to process and reflect. Thank you to everyone who has advised me on this problem. The trip may have appeared to be an extreme gesture, but it brought concerns to light that had been festering for decades. Sometimes you need a major moment to break old habits. The next post will most likely come after my parents' next wedding anniversary event, which I have already decided not to attend. Change is difficult, but important. Update 2. It has been 6 months since my last post, and I can't believe I'm writing this, but the situation has worsened much worse. What's the biggest news? Stephanie and I are engaged. What should have been a happy occasion has turned into another family drama. Following the cruise incident, I had little contact with my immediate family, preferring to focus on my relationship with Stephanie. The suggestion came at an ideal time, during a weekend trip to showcase our medical product at a healthcare conference. She's been my rock during all of this family drama. However, things turned ugly during our venue tour last weekend. We were touring our third potential wedding destination, a lovely historic building with a garden ceremony area. Halfway through the trip, I heard my mother's voice echoing down the corridor. They had somehow learned about our venue tour schedule. Later, I realized that my cousin Lauren had unintentionally disclosed it in the family group chat. My parents arrived with Alex and Sophia in tow, like some sort of intervention team. My mother immediately began telling the venue coordinator about her idea for the wedding, completely ignoring Stephanie and me. When I firmly said that they had not been invited and needed to leave, my mother burst into tears in front of the venue personnel and other couples who were visiting the space. What occurred next still seems strange. Alex, the responsible older brother, attempted to pull me away for a family discussion. When I declined, he remarked, "This is what happens when you let the middle child make important decisions." Sophia was shooting everything with her phone, perhaps for a dramatic social media post. The venue planner, bless her heart, quickly recognized the situation and had security escort them out, but not before my mother yelled that she would never forgive this betrayal, and that I was breaking your father's heart all over again. Here's the thing, they didn't just come across us. They had obviously planned this. They brought printed images from my childhood of good family occasions, which they planned to exhibit to the venue workers. My mother even brought her old wedding album and discussed family traditions that we needed to incorporate. After they left, we discovered that they had already visited our other 2 potential wedding locations earlier that week, informing the staff that they were the key decision makers. They even attempted to put down deposits to secure the dates. Stephanie was naturally shaken. Her family was appalled when they learned what had transpired. Her father, who is generally very polite, called my father immediately to inform him that their behavior was unacceptable. This sparked more controversy, with my father accusing Stephanie's family of stealing his son. We have recently chosen to drastically rethink our wedding arrangements. Neither of the venues on our original list will be used. We're now looking at venues outside of our area, and we've engaged a wedding planner who specializes in dealing with delicate family circumstances. She is putting in place stringent security measures and a thorough guest screening process. What's the silver lining to all of this? Our bond has only gotten stronger. Stephanie and I are more confident than ever that we are making the proper decision to begin our lives together away from poisonous family relationships. I've also received unexpected help from my colleagues. My employer, remembering the recent event at our office, has approved additional security measures at work. He has even volunteered to host our wedding on his vacation property if we choose a fully private setting. The difficult element isn't the drama itself. It's recognizing that my wedding day, one of life's most important occasions, is being turned into yet another battleground for my family's turmoil. But this time, I am not backing down. Stephanie and I deserve to spend our day the way we want. We're going forward with our plans, but with increased security and an extremely selective guest list. Our wedding will be a celebration of love and happiness, not just another stage for family drama. Update 3. It's been 3 months since my last update, and I'd like to explain what happened at our wedding. This will be my final update since, following what happened, I've made a definitive choice about my family relationships. The wedding day began nicely. We found a stunning private estate 3 states away, hired security, and implemented stringent guest screening. Stephanie looked amazing, and our closest friends and selected family were present to support us. The morning preparations went well, and Stephanie's family made everyone feel loved and included. Despite all of our efforts, my mother was able to enter just as the officiant was about to begin the ceremony. The doors flew open, and my mother dashed down the aisle, my father trailing behind her like a reluctant shadow. What came next was bizarre. Instead of the standard "I object" moment, my mother launched a full-fledged show about how ungrateful I was. She had prints of family portraits, which she began handing to stunned guests as a bizarre wedding favor. What truly crossed the line was when she turned to Stephanie and remarked, "Good luck on this one. He's been bitter his entire life." But this is where things changed. Instead of letting this wreck our day, I finally mustered the courage to speak all I'd been holding back. I came up and quietly informed my mother, "This is not about you. It never was. This refers to your incapacity to love your children equally. Today is not about the past. It is about my future with Stephanie." The security team moved to escort my parents out, but my mother had not finished. She turned to the guests and began divulging sensitive family facts, attempting to embarrass me. That's when Stephanie's father intervened. He stepped between my parents and us, with serene power, saying, "You have made your point. Now, leave my children alone." The term "children" had a strong impact. In that moment, I understood I'd discovered what I'd been hunting for all along, a family willing to adore me. After being escorted away, something unexpected occurred. Several guests, even distant cousins who had watched my family's behavior over the years, spoke up to express their observations. My cousin's wife, a family therapist, discreetly informed me that my mother's behavior exhibited classic indicators of narcissistic family dynamics. We proceeded with the ceremony, which was magnificent. Stephanie's brother delivered a heartfelt tribute at the reception. He discussed how family is more than simply DNA, but also about individuals who celebrate your accomplishments and support you during difficult times. The next morning, my father called. For the first time in his life, he admitted their favoritism, but in a way that made everything plain. He responded, "We only pushed Alex and Sophia more since you were so capable on your own. You must understand, it was easy to concentrate on them." That was it. That admission of taking the easiest road rather than being fair parents solidified my decision. I'm done trying to understand or repair this connection. I'm over expecting they'll change or suddenly become the parents I needed. I have officially changed my phone number. Our new house address is not listed. I took a promotion that puts me in charge of our company's West Coast expansion, which means we'll be moving across the nation. Stephanie's employer also has an office there, and her family has already made plans to visit. The medical device initiative continues to save lives. Last week, we received statistics indicating that our technology had avoided over 200 possible cardiac incidents. Alex still works at the same hospital that rejected our device implementation proposal, which is ironic given that it could have helped his patients. Thank you to everyone who has been following my story. Your support gave me the courage to speak up for myself and set boundaries. To anyone dealing with similar family dynamics, you deserve to be honored, you deserve to be seen. Sometimes the family you choose is more significant than the one you were born into. This will be my final update because there is nothing else to say. I'm not angry anymore, I am not hurt, I'm just finished. My new family, Stephanie, her family, our friends, and those who truly care about us, is my primary priority right now. Walking away from a situation is sometimes the healthiest option. It is not about vengeance or punishment. It is about choosing serenity, joy, and surrounding oneself with others who actually appreciate your existence. Karen and her husband attacked me and stole my PS5 from my trunk, despite the fact that the box contained coal. An entitled Karen attacked me in the parking lot and grabbed what they thought was a brand new PlayStation 5 from my trunk. Unfortunately for them, in an unusual twist of destiny, what they stole was full to the brim with coal. I had every intention of giving it as a joke gift, and I've never felt better about getting back at someone in my life. This is what occurred. To provide context, my wife and I have a secret Santa custom that we follow every year. During the holidays, we look for a family in need or facing a difficult financial condition, and we offer holiday cheer by purchasing Christmas gifts for the entire family. We surprised them with the gifts on Christmas Day. This year, we chose a family with a young kid who was a straight-A student and desperately desired a PlayStation 5. I had planned to surprise him with it on Christmas Day. Another thing I discovered while gathering information about the family was that they had a Christmas ritual of delivering gag gifts and playing pranks. Naturally, I decided to participate in the fun. My plan was simple. In addition to the real PlayStation 5, I'd find a separate PS5 box and use it as a prank gift. I filled the box with charcoal, attached a letter that said "Psych" with a troll face, and made sure everything was safe by adding extra padding to keep the charcoal in place. After weeks of begging around, I located a friend who was ready to give me an empty PS5 box. I graciously accepted it and began to work on the gag gift. Now all that remained was to get the genuine PlayStation 5. This is where things took a surprising turn. I located a local gaming shop with one PlayStation 5 left in stock and went to buy it right away. On my way out of the store, I nearly hit an unpleasant, screaming woman and her husband. They surged by me, almost hitting me with the door, without even saying "excuse me." These people were quite disrespectful, but I decided to brush it off. When I got to my car, I placed the new PlayStation 5 behind the driver's seat. Before leaving, I wanted to get some Gatorade from the cooler I kept in the trunk. While retrieving it, I spotted the woman from before, with her husband in tow, approaching me quickly from the corner of my eye. The entitled Karen exclaimed, "Hey, excuse me, sir?" I cautiously turned my head to face her and her spouse. Can I help you?" I asked. "Are you the guy that bought the last PlayStation 5? The spouse inquired. Silently loathing myself, I responded, "Yes, that would be me." This is entitled Karen stared at me and said, "Well, I need you to give me the PlayStation 5. We really need it." I replied, "I'm sorry, but the PS5 is a charity gift for a Secret Santa that I'm doing." Karen responded, "Well, how about you be a Secret Santa to our kids and give us the system?" I firmly responded, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but I can't do that." Her spouse remarked, "Dude, you can easily find another one at another store or a pawn shop nearby." "Why don't you guys just do that?" I countered. That's when Karen lost it. She began yelling, "Our time is valuable. We can't waste time looking around town for another one." I replied gently, "I'm sorry, but a lack of preparation on your part is not my problem." Before I could finish, Karen interrupted me, saying, Oh, don't give me the BS." The spouse then replied, "Okay, listen, I have $200 in my pocket. That's yours if you just give me the PlayStation 5. I informed him, "It cost me $400. Karen, clearly agitated, snapped, "For the love of God, just take the money." Before I could finish saying, "Sorry, that's not going to happen," my spouse gave me an unexpected shove. I'm a bigger guy, yet this threw me completely off guard. The shove knocked me to the ground, sending my spectacles flying off my face. As I struck the ground, the spouse said, "Grab the box." I dimly observed them reach into my car's trunk and remove the PlayStation 5 box. I scrambled to find my glasses and put them back on, just to watch the two of them speed across the parking lot to their car. I chased after them, but they were able to reach their vehicle and get inside before I could catch up. They rushed away as I stood there, filled with rage and disbelief at the audacity of what had transpired. A bystander approached to see if I was okay after the shove and offered to contact the police. I was so outraged that I decided to contact the police myself. I wanted to see if they could get the store to look through any CCTV tape for a license plate or anything beneficial. As I unlocked my car door to get my phone, I noticed something tucked in the back seat. The PlayStation 5 I had just purchased, still in its bag with the receipt. Confused, I opened the package for a sanity check and discovered the brand new PS5 still wrapped. I sat there for a minute, stunned by the entire scene. I had obviously seen the couple steal a PlayStation 5 box, but the one I had just bought was there in front of me. Then it dawned on me. The PS5 they confiscated was a gag gift. When I discovered this, I nearly died laughing, much to the surprise of the bystander who had come to check on me. I explained the scenario to him, and he chuckled too. He asked if I still wanted to call the police, but I opted not to. It was just a joke gift, after all, and I saw no reason to try to get it back. As I drove away, I felt another sense of disappointment, not because of the theft, but because I wouldn't be able to see the couple's astonishment when their child opened the dummy box and saw a bag of charcoal and a troll face. Even better, they would be unable to return anything because it had been stolen. Sure, I didn't get to deliver the funny gift myself, but knowing I could still spread Christmas cheer to a less fortunate youngster made it all worthwhile. I can't believe they did that to you. First and foremost, I would have called the police in that situation. That is something I would never overlook. Sure, you got off pretty lucky when they stole the gag gift, which is incredibly hilarious, but to be shoved to the ground like that? That surely warrants punishment. Overall, wonderful for you for finding a way out of this, because things could have been much worse. My best friend's fiancé confessed he loves me but still planned to marry her. I told her, she left him, and I'm helping her move on. My best friend and I have always been close, and I adore her. We're really open and honest with each other, about as close as two people can go without being romantically attached. We're even joking that we're wives, because we're so close. Because of her fastidious personality, we have already discussed random circumstances and how we would like the other to approach them. For example, if a guy asked one of us out, how would the other react? Or if we both developed affections for the same person. We've even discussed what would happen if one of us died. One of these situations involved the dreaded, if I had a boyfriend and he had feelings for you issue. The possibility of this happening has arisen several times over the years, with varied degrees of concern. We both thought that would be terrible, but we couldn't agree on how to deal with it. I've always claimed that I'd want to know regardless of the circumstances, but she insisted on not telling me. She has been adamant about this every time it comes up, regardless of how I phrase or change the circumstance. She made it abundantly apparent that she would never want to know. About 3 years ago, my best buddy began dating a guy. He was already a loose member of our friend group, so we both knew him. I didn't think much of him at first. He appeared cool, courteous, and respectful. He gradually grew more integrated into our group, and he got along with everyone. The guys in the group liked him, the girls were excited for my closest friend, and, most importantly, she was overjoyed. She had always wanted to be in love, and he seemed ideal for her. He treated her and everyone else with great respect. He and I got along great, but we never hung out one-on-one. Our conversations were primarily limited to small talk about music, work, and other casual topics, which occurred in group situations. He made similar efforts to connect with the other members of the group, and I always appreciated that he was interested in her life and the people she was close to. I've always been the odd one out among our group of pals. I missed a few classes in school, so the most of my pals are significantly older than me, and I've always been the baby of the group. While most of us attended to the same institution, I've never been interested in dating. Though I've had interest from men, I'm a daydreamer who is obsessed with my profession. My future goals do not include children, and may not even include marriage. The idea of love appeals to me, but I've always been content with myself and have never felt compelled to seek it out. This resulted in an ongoing joke among our friends about me dying alone, surrounded by dogs. It was innocent fun, and the guy joined in on the jokes. Over time, I observed that he was particularly concerned in my love life, urging me to follow my goals and take my time. My best friend always did the same thing, so I didn't think much of it. Until about 4 months ago, I met a man, 25 million, who utterly swept me off my feet. We'll call him Max because that is his name. It was very unexpected, he just swooped in, and we've had a lovely, fairy tale-like romance. Because of my lack of experience with relationships, I've spent a lot of time discussing my sentiments with my best buddy. She's pleased for me, offers advice, and is usually quite supportive. Her fiancé, let's call him Guy, is often present during these chats and occasionally contributes. Everything seemed wonderful and awesome until Guy started acting strangely. We'd be hanging out as a group, and I'd relate a tale about Max. Guy would suddenly act strangely, informing me that seemingly typical things Max did were red flags. For example, when Max unexpectedly came up to take me stargazing late at night, which I appreciated because I enjoy surprises and work in astronomy, Guy went on about how hazardous it was for me to go alone, blah, blah. Guy has always been polite, supportive, and considerate to others. His judgment is so respected that my best friend began to question Max's intentions solely because Guy expressed doubts. Meanwhile, all of my other pals thought Max sounded fantastic and dismissed Guy's conduct as strange. During this time, Guy told me that he planned to marry my closest friend. I was ecstatic for them and pledged to keep it a secret. He told me because he wanted advice on the ring and how my best friend wanted to be proposed to. Everything appeared fine until it wasn't. The tipping point occurred when Max met my friends for the first time. Everyone liked him, and he appeared to get along with everybody. Max and Guy were speaking off to the side when Guy abruptly dropped his drink on the table and walked out of the pub. My best friend became perplexed and pursued him, while I approached Max to find out what had happened. Max appeared shocked. He told me that Guy had been performing the big brother thing, which he had learned from a number of the guys in the group. The majority of them were joking around, but Guy was much more serious. He stormed out after Max expressed how serious he was about me. Max told him that there was no need for concern because he would never injure me. Later on, Max speculated that Guy might be envious. I was hesitant because Guy had never done or said anything to indicate that he had affections for me. He'd always treated me the same as the rest of the group, despite the fact that we spent more time together because I frequently visited him and my closest friend's house. I decided I'd had enough of the stress and messaged Guy. First, I inquired if he was okay. Then I stated I hoped things was okay amongst us all. The conversation went as follows. My response: "Is everything okay? I hope we're good." The gentleman: "It's not cool, I don't trust that guy." You: "Do you mind if I ask why not?" Specifically: "No one else has bad vibes, everyone even invited him to the beach tomorrow." Guy: "What are you saying?" He looks at you funny. I can't explain it properly. You've known me a while. You know I have your best interests at heart, trust me on this. I understand that you can't help but get bad vibes, but no one else does. I'm sorry, but I need more than trust me to go on. While I appreciate your concern, I'm capable of making my own mistakes, and I don't think this is one. It would mean a lot to me if you could try to get along with him to make it easier for him to fit in. I plan on keeping him around for a while, and, best friend, wants to do double dates and stuff. You're going to run into him eventually. Guy replies: 1. Double dates sound lame. 2. Even if they didn't, I don't want him to come. I say: 1. Take that up with your lady. 2. Do you really not like him that much? He responded: Okay, he seems alright, but kind of weird. How can a theater kid be so alpha? It's more that, I'm jealous. My response was: I resent the notion that theater guys can't be manly. But also, the group is really tight, and everyone really likes you. You've been one of us for years now. Max got a lot of attention tonight because he's the new guy. I'm sorry if you felt excluded, but I promise it's really not like that. He didn't respond for a long, then sent this. He said: I've been thinking very carefully about how to phrase this message. I don't want you to think I don't love best friend, because I do, very much, but I'm also in love with you and have been for about 2 years. When I realized, I thought about breaking up with best friend, but you were always so in your own world. I thought I'd never have a shot anyway, especially if I was your BFF's ex. I pushed it down and lived with it. It was hard, it sucked. I got over it, Kai. I figured that if I couldn't be with you, I could at least be happy with best friend, and close to you. Then you met Max, and watching you begin to fall in love with him was the most difficult thing I've ever had to do. I know this is cliché and theatrical. I know it's wrong, and I should just not say anything about him, but I genuinely feel sick when you talk about him. I can't tell you how much I wanted to strike the guy last night, and then how bad I felt about it when I learned he was actually a nice guy. I believe the only thing worse than you being with another guy is you being with another guy I like. Sorry for offloading this onto you. I know it's unfair to do this now. I do love best friend, you know I do. I want to marry her. I would rather you didn't tell her, but what happens next is up to you, I guess. You. If this is a joke, it's not funny. Can you please tell me the truth? He replied: Sorry, but that is the truth. What are you going to do? I have not responded to him. He then sent me a few more texts, asking what I was going to do. I said, I'm thinking. Small edit. Since I posted this, he has sent several more messages wondering what I was going to do. I told him I hadn't made up my mind, but I also made it apparent that I didn't reciprocate his feelings. I am devastated, and my feelings are nothing compared to how best friend would react if she knew. I want to tell her so badly. I know if I were in her situation, I would want to know. The last thing I want is to marry someone who isn't open with me about something like this. But when we joked about this situation earlier this year, she insisted she didn't want to know. I understand it is not my responsibility, but I still feel bad. I'm wondering if I did anything to provoke Guy's reaction, and if I can even continue to pretend he never said anything. His affections have never been reciprocated. Max was with me when I received the message and has been incredibly supportive, albeit a little annoyed with Guy for obvious reasons. Send help. Summary. Best friend and Guy met 3 years ago. He fit right in with our group of friends, got along with everyone, and was overall a pleasant person. Life continued on. They moved in together, and I was overjoyed for her. He is everything she has ever wanted. Then I met what seemed to be my dream boyfriend. Everyone was pleased for me, except Guy, who became quite standoffish and strange about it. I don't think much about it. Guy wants to marry my closest friend and asks me for advice. Awesome. After Max and Guy meet for the first time, things quickly escalate. Guy begins messaging me that he is in love with me but wants to marry my best friend and only be in love with me in the shadows. His sentiments for me are not returned in the slightest. I need to discuss this Reddit. Should I tell her? Should I keep this to myself? I am upset at Guy. I feel dreadful. I feel terrible for my dearest friend. I'm not sure if I can face her in the eyes while she marries this person. I'm not sure I can let her marry him without her knowing all the facts. I'm overwhelmed. Please give me some advice. Update. Sorry, this will probably grow long. It does. There were many differing ideas on what to do, and many of you had very good reasons for your suggestions. However, there appeared to be a consensus. 1. This sucks, and there is no ideal answer, and 2. Everyone seemed to agree on the letter idea, which had been presented by a couple of people. The gist was that I should write a letter, add screen caps, and then give her the information. That way, she would have some control over whether or not she wanted to know. I have to admit that telling her there was something to know felt like I was forcing her to open it. But this is what happened. I made the envelope and went to her house while Guy was working, well, just to hang out. Typical things. Reddit, I'm not a bad actress, but this woman knows me very well. She answered the door for me and instantly asked what was wrong. To my everlasting shame, I burst into tears. It was quite pitiful of me and not great. Ugh. After I had collected myself, I began saying what I had been practicing in my brain. That was something we'd discussed a lot in hypothetical scenarios, and it had actually occurred. She'd always stated she didn't want to know, but I wanted to give her the option. I handed her the letter. Then, without even opening it, she started crying, which prompted me to restart. That was okay since the absurdity of us both standing in her living room crying all over each other made us giggle a little. Many others assumed she had noticed or understood Guy's feelings, and they were completely correct. But it gets crazier than that. I honestly cannot believe I'm describing this. It's simply odd. I do not know. My closest friend had assumed Guy had a harmless little crush on me, the kind that people in partnerships sometimes have. But when he didn't tell her about it, she began to feel uncomfortable. She did something she should not have. You know how it goes, she snooped. She snooped on his PC months ago and discovered a file with my initials buried among a slew of other documents. She went to get his laptop and handed it to me to read as she read my letter. Inside, he had written stories, similar to fan fiction, about the three of us living a poly-relationship lifestyle as spouses. Some of it was sexual content, which, I think I would understand more if it had only been sexual fantasies. However, there were also really long records about our lives together. It also goes deep. There was a whole storyline about him attempting to persuade me to have children. I love them, but I don't have children, and everyone knows it. There were many stories of varying lengths. I didn't read them all. Instead, I browsed them with my mouth hanging wide. It's difficult to express. It was strange to read about myself like that. There were newer docs that my closest friend hadn't read yet. She went on to say that she didn't mind because she was in all of the articles as well. That reassured her of his love for her, but having me in their lives in that way was clearly not ideal for her. She was disturbed by the way he had spoken to me in the previous day's messages and those he had sent since. I asked her many questions, including whether she felt safe. She stated she did. When I asked her what she wanted to do, she stated she wanted to leave him. She also apologized for not informing me earlier. While it bothers me that she didn't, given what transpired later, I've basically forgiven her and put any discussion about it on hold. She doesn't need it right now. I've been so glad that she wasn't upset with me for busting her bubble and was more concerned about her that it appears to be a secondary issue. This was not one of the things I expected to happen during my vacation. The subject then moved to me being concerned about her safety. While he does not appear to be dangerous, his conduct is quite compulsive, and he is clearly irritated that his fantasy is growing more and more distant from reality with Max in the picture. I'm also concerned about Max's safety. I'm not sure if I'm being rational or paranoid. She continuously assured me that she felt absolutely protected. She claims he has never done anything but this, which is a red sign, but she still wants to leave. She is naturally cautious, so she is taking extra precautions. Then she stood up and began packing her bags, giving me normal, business-like orders on what items she wanted me to gather from around the home. She filled her suitcases, and I packed a box with her personal belongings. She then wrote a note to Guy stating that she no longer thought they should be together and that she would discuss it with him via messaging or in person a few days later in a public area. She assured me of the plan. This is when I may have done something wrong, I'm not sure. I have a pen drive on my keychain. I told her I needed to grab copies of the articles because, even if she doesn't believe it would happen, we need something to prove his compulsive behavior. She consented, And I now have a pen drive filled with stories and playlists about myself. My best friend and her ex, I'm not going to lie, I've been tempted to read the stories out of morbid curiosity, but I've managed to resist so far. We went to my apartment first to decide what to do next. Her feelings were understandably mixed. I then got a call from Max and filled him in. He advised we stay with him because Guy doesn't know where he lives. However, my best friend preferred to stay in a nearby motel. We paid for it with my car, and after I hovered nervously over her as she settled in, she finally declared she wanted to be alone. That is not uncommon for her when she is upset. I've been visiting her, and she's been messaging me the entire time. So I'm very certain about where her brain is. Sad, but coping well given everything. Still, I can't help but be worried. I'll remain with Max till things settle down. Since approximately 5 p.m. That night, 2 nights ago, I received messages from Guy. They are the I just want to talk sort, not aggressive or anything. I was about to block him on everything, but my best friend persuaded me not to since she was concerned about his mental health. For the time being, I'm staying at Max's as a precaution. Guy has attempted to communicate with both me and her, but the only reaction he has received is to read the note she left him again. Finally, thank you to everyone who left a remark, especially those who wrote a lot, gave great advice, sent me good vibes, or PM'd me. You people were fantastic, and I appreciate all of your feedback. My husband is cheating on me with my best friend, betraying both our marriage and my trust in the most painful way. I'm honestly not sure where to start, so I guess I'll just start. My husband and I have been dating since I was 19 and he was 22. We've been married for 6 years now. We have 2 kids and I'm 6 months pregnant with our third. 2 years ago I found out my dad has stage 3 colon cancer. My dad is my only parent as my mom passed away when I was 12. He's my favorite human and life without him doesn't seem as colorful. His laugh is contagious and he gives these big bear hugs that seem to make all of your broken pieces feel like they're perfectly in place again. Whenever I've had a hard day he doesn't poke and prod and just lets me vent and listens. About 5 months ago we discovered the treatments aren't working for him and in direct quote from the doctor he said months not years. Since then he's gotten progressively worse and now is losing memory. He looked at the dog he got for me on my 21st birthday and said, "Wow, that's a nice dog. Where'd you get it?" My husband has been my absolute rock. He has been there for me holding my hand and helping me through this. He's been so loving and attentive to both my kids and I. Don't get me wrong, I am a mother first always. I don't allow myself to wallow. My kids are still loved, cared for, played with, and I haven't let my load slack around the house. Once my dad got his updated prognosis, my husband encouraged me to quit my job. About a month later we discovered we were pregnant again and I still hadn't let go of my job. I kept holding out for some reason. After finding out I was pregnant again he assured me it was still okay to quit my job, that honestly it would save us a small fortune on daycare costs anyways. So I did, I quit my job. My best friend and I have been friends since diapers. Her family is like my family and vice versa. My mom and her mom grew up together. We've always been solid and right after my dad's appointment when we found out he had so little time left I drove straight to her house and she held me while I cried for hours. If there are soulmates in friend form, she was mine. Thick as thieves, is what my mom used to say. This morning as I was up with my 3-year-old, he's sick, my husband's work alarm was going off. He has a few he sets so I turned that one off and gently woke him up. He said he was up late working so he took the morning off. Rolled over and went back to sleep. As I went to turn off the remainder of his alarms I saw a text from my friend on his lock screen that said, "I'm assuming since there hasn't been an angry pregnant lady on my doorstep you haven't told her about us yet?" Time froze at that moment. I took his phone and walked away and just read their conversations. 4 months this man has been fucking my best friend. 4 months these people have been lying to my